All right, welcome back to another episode of Another Bourbon Show. We are continuing on through our Rye month, and we are getting started tonight with Three Blind Ryes. A little wordplay there on Three Blind Mice. I
Before
know,
the 90s
very...
band, Three Non-Blondes. Ew, great song.
No.
What song did they have, though?
I don't know.
Three Non-Blondes?
You're telling the story.
Can I just throw out something? Three Doors Down is also
Three Doors Down.
Is also a band. Hey, where's
311?
Where's yeah? Look, Dan and I can play too, Ryan.
There's a guy online. Apparently, there's one guy who does Why This Song Is Good. So some other hipster dude just started doing Why This Song Sucks. So he just did Three Doors Down Kryptonite. He talks about it for like 30 minutes, but the dude's hysterical. So if you're ever bored at work, check it out.
Hey, if you're ever bored at work, listen to more episodes of Another Bourbon Show. That's
well, I'm telling this for you two, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Everyone listening, you know, whatever.
Boy, with that sort of attention to detail and care for our audience, I can see why we get so many listeners every week.
Exactly. Hey, we are now on average getting more people listening to the podcast than are watching us on YouTube. I want to throw that out there. And all of that pales dramatically in comparison to the attention we're getting on TikTok. That is crazy right now. So listeners, if you're on TikTok, look for Another Bourbon Show. Things are going well there. It suits us well, and I wouldn't have thought that it would have, since I'm 42 years old. But I mean, compared to the girls that show their titties, we're doing really well. They do much better, but we're doing really well for me not even showing my titties, which are solid B cups easily, I would say.
Which is on that. I mean, we were always in second place to that on YouTube as well. So
that's a good point. That's a fair point. So tonight, like I said before, we're doing Three Blind Ryes, and calling this the Ryan Protocol. I'm not even sharing with them what it is we're drinking until we reveal what it is we like best. It's a true blind. I don't know. I know the three that we're drinking, but I don't know which one is which, and they're up there. So in lieu of that, we're not going to be doing a label rating. But Steven, do you have anything you want to say?
Yeah, well, one thing I've been noticing about labels in general, particularly in Rye Month, that I wanted to ask is, do you happen to know what the backstory is? Why are ryes always green? Why are the labels associated with ryes generally green? How did that come about?
I don't know.
It's a good question. I never thought of it, but
it
you're
just
right.
Seems to be the color coding that like every single distiller or like the vast majority use. If they have like a couple.
Well, Rittenhouse didn't have any green.
That's true. I'm not saying it's
Old Overhaul didn't have any green.
That's true. Not every single one does, but a lot of the major ones, anytime they have like, if they have like a lot of different products, it's typically green.
It's a big brown format thing. Woodford Rye, Old Forester Rye, Jack Rye is green.
The new Elijah Craig Rye is got a green sticker, green label on it instead of the red label. Well, shit, Steven, I don't fucking know.
I thought
you stumped me.
I didn't mean for it to be a gotcha. I'm glad it was a good question, but I thought there was probably like a thing that like was just known. But yeah.
No, I mean, it's not even something I've ever even noticed.
Might be just a way to distinguish a rye from a bourbon. If you're going into a store, there's a little rye section, everything's similar colored, you know where exactly to go.
Yeah, of course.
But
I just didn't know where that
originated.
And now it's obviously now if the three of us were making a couple different bourbons and then we had like one of our offerings was a rye, then we would probably make that one green just because we've seen that before, whether we realized it or not, you know?
Yeah. No, I've never even noticed before, let alone wondered why. So, no, you stumped me. Hey, listeners, if you know, tell us. Comment down below. Send us a message. Because I want to know. And I'm too lazy to look it up.
Do it on TikTok because that's where all of our viewership is. That's where all our engagement is. Anyway.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's
the average age of TikTok, I feel like, is under the drinking age in America, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's that people, if they're all under a legal drinking age on TikTok, I wonder if we just have a bunch of kids watching our videos because they want to act like around their friends like they've had alcohol, and they're just like, oh, I know what Blanton's is now, and I'm going to be able to like pretend like. So basically, we need to just come out with a line of videos on our TikTok page. I think it's just like prepping young people for like, here's how you can most closely pretend that you drink alcohol. It's like the Nathan For You, where he like lets people take pictures with the alcohol that they purchase.
You come back and buy 5 years later.
Yeah, exactly.
or with their raffle ticket or whatever it was.
I have no problem with exploiting youth, right? Like, I'm fine with exploiting them. That's fine.
Thank you. I'm glad we got clean audio for that so I can isolate that later.
Well, okay, so why don't we actually drink? What do you say?
I could have made a Penn State joke. I could have made a Penn State joke there.
Oh, and I'm sure it would have been so fucking clever, right? Just as clever as your 3 non-blondes.
Great song. I don't even know if it's the name of the song or the band.
It's a band. I don't know what song they sang. And I don't think it was 90s. I think it was 80s.
Was it?
I'm pretty sure.
Isn't a song called like What's Up or something?
Let's definitely pause the show.
Let's look it up. Yeah, the song is What's Up.
What's going on?
The nose on A. I'll just talk about that while you guys are looking.
Oh, I thought you said we were pausing the show.
I was being sarcastic.
Oh.
Obviously, it was well received.
Oh, and I scream on top of my lungs, oh, what's going on?
Yeah, now we're going to have a DMCA takedown for no reason. This is not relevant at all.
I guess it was 92. 92 to 94. Look at you go. All right.
I was between 1 and 3 during those years.
All right.
Obviously, very formative years. All these years later, still stuck with you.
All right. So what do you guys think of the nose on A? Picking up some alcohol, some ethanol.
I get a lot of corn. This is honestly like, I feel like it has a high corn content because if you put this in front of me and you told me I drank this before, I would be like, oh, that seems like it's slightly mellow cornish on the nose to me. That's my
I was thinking, I thought it was a little corny as well. It's not, I don't really get those like peppery, like baking spice on the nose.
No, I agree. I get like a floral nose to it, really.
Yeah.
Do we want to nose each of them, then sip each of them, or all about A?
I'd say we'd nose each of them.
Okay.
Talk about that quality first.
All right. So now we're gonna do B.
This one's a lot lighter in color.
Oof, much different nose on this one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I like the nose on this one.
Yeah, this one's really interesting.
I'm getting a weird sweetness to it. I'm picking up a rye spice. Not as much ethanol, but like a fruity sweetness to it almost.
Yes, I get like a sort of blueberry and like maybe some marshmallows, even non-toasted.
Oh, dude, marshmallows. Yeah. No, you're right.
Not toasted like normal, like you get with some whiskey. This is just straight marshmallows.
I love the nose on that one.
It's a good nose. Not that I'm not guessing what it was. It kind of a little reminiscent of the Sinclair that we had, or some of Spirit's friend like kind of brings me back to that, the nose on those.
Well, here's the thing. Tonight, you're welcome to try to guess all you want because you're not even being offered like what the options are, right? Like, so if you want to throw out comparisons tonight, then go for it.
Yeah.
But also fucking don't.
Well, I'm just saying it does.
No, I agree with you.
I don't get much of a nose on this one.
On C,
See, I get more cherry was the first thing that hit me. I got a little
Same.
bit of cherry.
dead on same. I get lots of cherry,
I also
like
get,
a dark sweet cherry.
Like a black, yeah.
and I get a decent amount of ethanol burn on this one. And
Same.
You know what? It actually smells like black cherry Kool-Aid, if you guys ever had that.
Yeah, I have, but it's been a long time, so I'm not like making the connection there. Yeah, I'm getting ethanol, but the A had more of ethanol to me. I got like no ethanol off of B, and
No.
then this one just like really strong in cherries with some ethanol, but a nice sweetness to it too.
I think the nose, I'm
sipping?
digging B the most, just off the
Same.
nose. Yeah.
Yes,
For,
I think
for
we're all
off
agreed.
off nose, I'd go B, C, A.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we want to taste them.
Let's do it.
Now when I smell it, I'm getting more honey than I got before as a sweetness. Oh, I get the spice on, like the rye spice on the palate.
I get really on the back end.
Well, yeah.
It's kind of kicked you in the front with like a little honey and caramel, and then it's all baking spices after that.
Yeah.
It's a long finish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like this one a lot on flavor. Didn't like the nose, but on flavor, ooh, I like this one a lot.
The nose is really bland. So.
Did you say really bland?
No, the
As
bland.
in three non-blondes?
The band, yeah. You want to start singing again?
No, it's all right.
Oh man, I really like the flavor on that. I'm getting some cinnamon.
I get a little bit of cinnamon too. I can see that. Like you guys were talking about, a really nice long finish. Very pleasant. I mean, in the winter months, this be delicious. I would also be curious to try this with maybe and throw an ice cube in there and just see what happened.
Mm-hmm. Or a splash of water. Just again, see what happens. But I really like the flavor on that one a lot. Move on to B.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
That nose is still so damn good.
It tastes just like it smells, honestly.
It does. But I get a taste of something that I don't ordinarily like. And it's hard for me to describe, but the only way I can describe it is mustiness. But I enjoy it in this one.
I was going to say the finish that I get is maybe what you're describing. And I was going to say sour apple, like a sour apple sucker or something like that.
I could see that. Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. It's definitely smoother to me. It doesn't have the finish isn't nearly as long as A.
You know what this tastes like actually, Dan? That mustiness? Now that I took a second sip, this tastes like what it tastes like when you lick an envelope to seal it.
But in a positive way. Like
I'm not saying it's not positive, but take another sip and tell me you don't get the same sensation on the finish.
That's all I'm going to think about now.
Right at the start of the finish, if that makes sense.
Okay. I can see it. I can see it. But for the listeners and the observers, it actually tastes really good, in my opinion.
I wish I had a little bit longer of a finish, though.
I'm not saying it's unpleasant, but yeah.
Well, most people don't say like, ooh, yummy, I get to lick envelopes. I'm trying to make sure.
I'm just saying it's a quality in there. It's not the only thing going on.
Yeah. Yeah,
if you laced the envelope with some bourbon too, that'd be pretty good. But honestly, I think a lot of that comes from maybe the oak. It's like almost like a cedar, even like what cedar smells like
hmm
is what I'm tasting in there.
Yeah, I think that's actually a pretty good. Like, that's a better description than I thought you were worthy of providing, Stephen. See, I can compliment. I give compliments all the time.
Look, I'm trying to provide something. I'm not just like, hey, you remember that band from 1992?
I remember the name.
Hey, not arguing.
Congrats. So I think I like A and B for different reasons. I'm not sure which one I prefer yet, but I'm going to move on to C.
I think I prefer the nose on B, but the taste on A.
I think I'm
See,
with you.
I definitely prefer the nose on B. I definitely prefer the finish on A. But while it's in my mouth, it's a toss-up for me right now. All right, moving on to C. Yeah, fucking just cherries.
Mhm. That's real sweet. I get like
Ooh.
almost like a nuttiness to it,
Yeah.
you know, like almonds maybe.
That first sip was,
I like that
for
too.
me, all cherries and baking spices. Like allspice, a little bit of cinnamon, maybe some nutmeg, lots of cherries.
Mhm.
Tastes like a spicy baker's to me.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think it's
Let
the
me
most
see if I
decadent of the three.
let me see if I can pick up any nuttiness, because I didn't that first sip.
That was the first thing I got. And then on the finish, it's a lot of baking spices.
Yeah, but I would say what you mentioned at first, Ryan, was almonds. I get
Yeah.
that more than I get peanuts.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that I didn't mean like a peanut nuttiness, like,
Yeah, yeah.
just like the taste of a nut, like an almond. I like that. I think I prefer the man. I didn't get like a lot off the smell of it. Like I got hints of cherry, but I think the noses on the other two I liked a little more. But while I was drinking it, I definitely like that one the most. I feel like.
Same. So for nose, I still stick with BCA. For flavor and finish, I've got to go with C. Like for finish, it goes CAB. For taste, I'm going to go CBA.
I think
Yeah,
So,
nose for me is BAC, but taste is CAB.
okay.
my
Steven?
on the nose I say BCA, but on the taste I go in a row ABC.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I
You
liked all
prefer?
of them, but
Mhm.
I like them in that order ABC.
Okay. So A is the winner for you, Steven?
Yeah, I think that I liked all of them, so I didn't really dislike any of them, any quality on any of them. So yeah,
Mhm.
I think even though A was not my favorite on the nose, still as a total package, I take A. Yeah.
Okay. And which comes in second overall for you?
I think C probably comes in second, and then B comes in last, like overall
Yeah.
as a total package. Yeah, I think my overall rating would be A, C, B then.
Okay. Ryan?
My overall is definitely C is my favorite, followed by A, then B. Based on taste. On smell, it's definitely BAC, but you're drinking it, you're not smelling it, you know.
Yeah.
So I definitely think Steve's the winner.
Okay. For me, I go right there with Ryan. I go CAB. But there's not like, to me, there's not a big gap here, right? Like, to me, they're all three are really good and really enjoyable. I would be happy to have, well, as luck has it, I have all three bottles on my shelf. But no, that's not my point, you dick. No, but I'd be happy to have all three of them on my shelf, right?
As
Like,
luck would have it. It turns out I do.
no, but like, I think that they're all three really, really good. And let's reveal what we've been drinking. What do you say?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Do it.
Move, you dumb fucking cat. All right. Which one you want to know first?
Let's just go in order A, B, C. I
Go
think.
down the line.
Okay. All right. So here is bottle A. Green label, Pikesville Rye. Pikesville Rye is a Heaven Hill product. It is 110 proof. It was easy to acquire up until probably 6 months ago. But for some reason, liquor stores are having a hard time getting it in. It's not that it's become hyped. It's that shipments from Heaven Hill have slowed down for some reason. But it is about $50, I think, give or take. But that's Pikesville Rye. B.
See what this is.
All right, here we have Montana Straight Rye Whiskey, from Rough Stock Distillery. I threw this one in there because I got this one on clearance from Dean's Liquor. Dean's in Collinsville. He was trying to get rid of stuff that wasn't moving, and I said I had never heard of it, never tried it. I said, "Hey Ryan, like of these that you just put on clearance, you obviously just want to get them off your shelf, right?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I said, "Which of these would you most highly recommend?" And he pointed to this one. And I tried it, and I was like, "Nope, you're right. That's damn good." And this one is only 90 proof. It's 90 proof. It was originally priced at $49. I bought it for $40 because it was on clearance. And I added this one in to show that just fucking try stuff. There's so much good stuff on the shelf.
Yeah. And
Ask
good
your liquor
call.
store owner.
Good
Yeah.
call on Ryan's part, saying that he just wished it was a little bit higher of a proof, or like wish it had a longer finish or something like that. It was a good call.
Yep.
That one was lower proof.
For sure. And that leaves this one. So I know what this one is now. This one is green. Rare breed rye. So wild turkey product, 112.2 proof. This one is very hard to get. When it shows up, I don't think it's allocated, but when it shows up, it flies off the shelf so damn fast. Again, in that $50 price range. But you really can't go wrong with any of the rare breed line, and the rare breed rye is right in there with that. So, Jimmy Russell, good job on you once again.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah. So there you have it.
In my opinion, I'll still take the Pikesville over it, which would not have expected, because
Yeah.
typically I'm all over the turkey products. So
Yeah.
but it's very obvious. It's very obvious that one was a turkey product, though. In retrospect.
In hindsight.
In hindsight, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I could tell which one was which as soon as I sipped them, but because they are so very different from one another.
Yeah. I was gonna say, if you knew what they were overall, you would be able to pick these out. It is not something you're gonna hide. It's kind of like throwing like the weeder in there. Like they're distinctive flavors.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And my initial So I initially I wanted tonight to be the high rye night. The high proof night. So I wanted to do 3 ryes that were all like 105 to 110 proof or higher. And I couldn't find a bottle that was supposed to be beat. It was Stumpy's Old Monroe barrel proof rye, a little craft distillery that's right here in Columbia, Illinois. And I couldn't find that bottle anywhere. And I looked for like 3 days and I couldn't find the son of a bitch. So finally I was like, well, I'm not going to go buy another one. So let me just figure out a different rye. And I was like, oh, this would be good just to like kind of show like how solid. Like it just kills me whenever I'm at a liquor store. It happened 3 weeks ago, maybe a month. I'm there talking with Ryan at Dean's. Some douchebag walks in and he goes, hey, where's your good bourbon at? And I'm like, you son of a bitch, everything up here is good. Everything on that shelf is good to varying degrees. And that just goes to show you that a bottle that he couldn't sell is really good. You just got to give things a try. Just got to give them a chance.
Yeah.
And
So
I think Ryes also kind of had a reputation of like being the lesser of the whiskeys. Not
that's
kind of
bullshit.
Like, I mean, with bourbon, I mean, feel like, oh yeah, I see a rye section. I don't really care for that.
Yeah.
I mean, and I was guilty of it too, even up to a couple of years ago. It's like, why would I drink a rye? I like bourbon, but you can find some really good ryes. And I think people think they all just taste the same, baking spices, and there's not too much difference. But with these three, we're 3 distinct and different ryes. And I mean, that Wild Turkey, you could have told me that was a bourbon,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I feel like bourbon drinkers get into this mindset where it's the lesser of the two, and it's just not a good way to think.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think it's just interesting to see how when you change with the mash bill, you still get the master distiller's signature on it. You know what I mean? You can taste Jimmy Russell's fingerprint all over the rare breed rye in this case. It's just you're tasting just a slightly different take on what you may already really like. So why wouldn't you want that? I mean, that it's the same principle applies if you just go after a new I would rather try a rye than go from like a 10-year to a 12-year most of the time. I think that's just me personally, but I also have always found that I usually like ryes. So
yeah. So I was reading something after Alan Bishop was on. He made a very quick comment about how how much bourbon, even from distillery to distillery, has a very similar flavor a lot of times. And he mentioned that it all goes back to the Jim Beam yeast. Do you remember him making that comment?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So he made that comment, and I wanted to dive into the history to find out why. So, of course, during Prohibition, 90% of distilleries shut down. Jim Beam was one of the few that didn't, because they were making medicinal whiskey, right? Because it was during Prohibition, you had to have a prescription to get whiskey. It was thought to be a medicinal product in some ways. So at the end of Prohibition, most distilleries that had been operating, their yeast was dead. The yeast that they had used prior to a Prohibition, it was dead. So they purchased yeast from Jim Beam, which then they cultured and made some adaptations to the yeast, and that's the yeast they're using today. One of the few that didn't use Jim Beam's yeast at the end of Prohibition was Wild Turkey. The master distiller of Wild Turkey prior to Prohibition took the yeast home and continued to culture it throughout the entirety of Prohibition. So at the end of Prohibition, they opened the distillery back up, and he brings yeast from his house back to the distillery to use in the whiskey making process. And I just thought that was so cool. And to this day, Jimmy Russell still keeps some of the wild turkey yeast at his house. And I just think that that is such a weird historical quirkiness, but it shows, like, to me, it shows like how dedicated some of these folks are to making whiskey, to the craft. I think it's awesome.
Yeah,
I
that's
wonder how many distillers. I mean, they probably thought whiskey drinking was just going to be dead. Like it's done,
Yeah.
you know. So
It's-
I'm
it's-
sure a ton of them were like, "Oh, I should have brought the yeast home."
it's insane to consider stuff like that was happening. It actually it reminds me of the Three Non Blondes song Superfly.
Yeah, so let's wrap it up. Do we want to do a rating, like a comparison to Jim Beam White for these three, or no?
Yeah, I think it's okay to give a rating to them. I think that's fair.
Okay. Uh, who wants to go first?
That's tough, man.
I think I'll go first, and I think what I'm going to do is I haven't given them the full time and attention to give them a decimal point rating. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll come back and we'll do these in the future and give them a proper episode each. But I'll say just like a solid number score for each. I'll say that I would give the Pikesville an 8.
Okay.
I'm gonna give the what was B, the Montana something? What was the exact name of it?
Yeah, rough stock Montana straight rye whiskey.
I'm gonna give that guy I guess I'll give him a 7.
Okay.
And I think I'm gonna also give a 7 to Rare Breed.
Okay.
So 8, 7, and 7 for me, with the Pikesville taking the 8. Again, I don't think I would give the exact same score to B and C if we were to give a decimal point.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think that's the broad stroke rating for me.
Okay. I'll go ahead and go next. I am going to go with decimals, but I somewhat feel similar to you, Stephen. Like if we were to dedicate a full episode to each of these, the numbers would be different here. But just to give them a range, or how close I feel they are, I'm going to go with Rare Breed Rye. I would give like an 8.1. Pikesville, I would give like a 7.8. And the Montana Rough Stock, I would give like a 7.6. Right? So like, are those numbers finite? Yeah, not really. My real point is that they're all in that upper echelons in the high 7s, and there's like a half a point difference between the Montana and the Rare Breed Rye. That's really the point that I'm trying to make, in my opinion.
I think how I'd go, I'd be pretty close to you, Dan, for the Pikesville. I was going to go 7.6 on that. It was good compared to, I really like C, the Rare Breed. Kind of hit those flavors, that the profiles I like the most. So I was going to give that an 8.2. And I definitely think the Montana was, not that it's not bad or like the worst of the three. It was just my least favorite of the three. So I think the Rare Breed's a whole point above that one. So I'm giving that one a 7.2. But like you said, it's kind of hard to do 3 whole ratings about 3 shows each dedicated, but I definitely think the Rare Breed was by far the best one.
Okay.
And my scores are close, but I don't think it was as close. I just like the Rare Breed. That's a good rye.
It is. I mean,
And don't
sleep on wild turkey stuff.
I've not had a lot of wild turkey stuff. And I think we talked about in the episode when we did wild turkey and then the one with fighting cock. But yeah, I just haven't drank a lot of them. And I like what I taste.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, folks, listen, thanks for joining us. thanks for listening in. If you've got comments, leave them below. And
Check
Yeah.
out our TikTok.
Yeah, we'll see you guys on TikTok.
yeah. And if we get to 5,000 followers, I'll show my tits.
Man, as soon as Steven and I hit 30, man, we're all going to be 30-plus-year-olds on TikTok.
I mean, I'm 42 on TikTok.
I know. Combined age of 102.
And if
When do you guys turn 30?
August and September.
Yeah.
So I'll be
Steven, September
43 before
29th?
you guys turn
Yeah.
30.
September 29th, right, Steven?
Yeah.
You and Aiden are like a week apart. I got a full month on Steven. I've seen way more of the world too, because that month. So
That's true. This man was born in Vietnam. It was like that. It was only 1 month, but it was like Apocalypse Now the entire time.
it was crazy.
And he remembers it well.
Oh yeah. I mean, how else do you expect a man who was through the ages of 1 to 3? He was in the non-blondes era, you might call it.
Yeah.
It was it was like a photographic memory of these times.
Another brother show. Another brother show.
Up on the thread. Probably got to go up a week.
Yeah, I downloaded it, so I wouldn't have
Oh.
to.
Oh, I don't have a computer.